Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shrutis Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitam Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Kataksha Kirana Chanta Naman Mohabdaye Namaha Anantananda Krishnaya Jagan Mangala Murtaye Ahamasmi Sada Bhami Kadachinnaham Apriyaha Brahmaivahamata Siddham Satchidananda Lakshanam. So, Aham Sada Asmi. In this, finally, we have to understand that while I say I always look upon myself as a conscious entity which is there with the body, mind, sense organs. So initially, we take it as somebody said, body, mind, sense organs with a spirit inside. Then after that, we have to understand, I am the spirit, the Atma, endowed with body, mind, sense organs. Then one more level you have to go. I am the existence consciousness manifest in the body, mind, sense organs. So from I am existent, I have to learn to see myself, I am existence. Then only this we can understand. So as existence, I am the very basis, the one who lends existence even to time. So even Kala means there is a beginning and end. So I am the very basis of time. Therefore, Aham Sada Asmi. Now, Aham Sada Bhami. So how do you know you are? When you say I am, how do you know you are? Then you will answer, I know I am. Okay. But without being conscious, you cannot say I am. So even when all these things exist, none of them is going to say I am. So only a conscious entity can say I am. So without being conscious, you cannot say I am. Insentient objects don't say I am. Okay. In fact, insentient objects cannot reveal their presence. Their presence is always appreciated by a conscious person. So I am searching for something in this table because I keep so many things, something has gone underneath. So I'm searching for a particular paper. That paper will not tell me, look here, I am there. So it's not going to tell me. Either I myself have to discover where it is, or somebody who is conscious points out, look, the paper that you are searching for is here. So for revealing the existence of any insentient thing, a conscious entity is essential, because they cannot reveal their presence by themselves. But I am being a conscious entity, I don't need anything else to reveal my existence. I am conscious and I am self-existent and I am self-evident. all other things become evident to me. They exist because I am aware of them. Okay? Or when I say they exist because I am aware of them, immediately a question can, can rise in your mind. Do you mean to say if I am not aware of something, that thing doesn't exist? Some conscious being has to be aware of it. Okay? Without a conscious being aware of it, they cannot reveal their existence. Whereas I don't need any other entity to reveal my existence. So I am ever self-existent. I am also self-evident. All knowns, let it be Shabda, let it be any sound, whatever is evident to the ears, let it be Sparsha, all forms of touches, evident to the sense organ of touch, all forms and colors, evident to the eyes, all tastes evident to the tongue, all smells evident to the nose. Okay, all these knowns are variable. But I, who am conscious of these, I am the invariable entity. So all thoughts, emotions, memories of which I am conscious, they are all variable. Okay. So the object, or rather the objects of which perception, cognition takes place are all variable. But I am the invariable consciousness in and through all of them. So I am aware of one thought. Now there is a pot thought. I am aware of the pot thought. Pot thought is replaced by flower thought. I am aware of the flower thought. I am aware of one emotion. That emotion is replaced by another emotion. I am aware of it. There is a memory that happens in my mind. I am aware of that memory. That memory goes, I am reminded of something else. Still, I am the same consciousness. So I come to know something, after which that is replaced, and then I come to know something else. So one cognition replaced by another. Again, I am aware of it. They all come and go. But I am aware of them. I am aware of their coming. I am aware of their going. Supposing this I also comes and goes. Okay, the one who is aware of things, that person, that person also comes and goes. And then it gets replaced by something else. What will happen? Supposing somebody raises a question. Okay. Then I ask you back. Who is aware that I has gone away? That I thought has gone away. Who is aware of it? Okay. So pot thought comes, I am, and I am aware of the pot thought. Pot thought goes, I am, and I am aware of its going away. Dog thought comes, I am, and I am aware of the dog thought. Then that also goes away. So I am there still, and I am aware of it. So anything that comes and goes, any thought that comes and goes, be it in the past, be it in the present, be it in the future, there is always a consciousness that exists before that object's recognition, during that and after that also. That consciousness is what I am. So I am the invariable consciousness which is aware of the coming and going of things. But if I also come and go, then see, supposing in this room is empty. Somebody comes and goes. Then somebody else comes and goes. Then this person will not be aware of that person coming, or that person will not be aware of this person's coming. Supposing you have already come into the room and you are there. Then somebody else comes in. You are aware of that person having come in. Then that person goes off. Then you are aware of that person going away because you were there before their coming. You were there after their coming. So if both keep coming and going, then nobody will be aware of anything coming and going. Therefore, for everything to be, its existence to be known, its coming to be known, its going to be known, there is a conscious entity that is essential. That conscious entity is what Shastra reveals you. Now, this is an exercise I sometimes do in the class. Okay. Now close your eyes and I ask you to think of certain things. Okay. So think of an apple. Think of the desk. Think of the peacock. Think of the sound of the fan. Now don't think anything. Think of the rose. Okay. Think of me sitting in front of you. Now don't think of anything. Now, while I asked you, okay, you can now open your eyes. So while I asked you to think of the various things, everything that I said, you are aware, you could visualize that in your mind, you are aware of that. When I said don't think of anything, were you aware that you are not thinking of anything or not? Yes. So whether there is a thought or whether there is no thought, I am conscious of the thought that is being there. I am conscious of the thought not being there also. So I am there always available as the existence which is also the which is also the consciousness. Now, if consciousness comes and goes, supposing, so this much I have pointed out, that I cannot think of myself without being conscious. So try to think of yourself the minus consciousness. You can't think of yourself. That very thinking needs for you to be conscious. So you can't think of yourself without being conscious. Okay. But supposing that consciousness also comes and goes. Okay, let us take it, consciousness also comes and goes. That means, like I told you previously, nobody else is there in the room, you are there. Then somebody, so you are aware of the absence of others in the room. Then somebody walks in, you are aware of that person coming in. And you are aware of that person came and then they put something in the room and then they went away, so you are aware of their going. Okay? That means you are present before and after. Whereas the other person of whom you are aware, that person was not there previously and that person is not there later. Supposing consciousness also comes and goes. That means before the arrival of consciousness, to say there was no consciousness, how will you say there was no consciousness? Unless somebody is conscious of the absence of consciousness. If you say, I am conscious of the absence of consciousness, consciousness is already there. If you have to say, I am conscious of the consciousness went away and I am conscious of the consciousness going away, consciousness is still there. So some of these points you are going to see in greater detail later. So the question is, you cannot think of yourself minus consciousness at any time. Okay? Everything else comes and goes, and this consciousness also, if it comes and goes, there won't be anybody to recognize the coming and going of consciousness. Only consciousness can be conscious of something. So if consciousness also comes and goes, there won't be anybody available to know the prior absence of consciousness and later absence of consciousness. Nobody will be there. The thing is, unfortunately, we have been all the time trained to think I exist means body, mind, sense organs exist, therefore I exist. I am conscious means my mind is conscious, therefore I am conscious. So in Vedanta, you have to totally knock off all the previous concepts that you have. So we are trained to think of existence as a property of the body, mind, sense organs. We are trained to think of consciousness as a property of the mind. According to Vedanta, consciousness and existence are ever present. Only our body, mind, sense organs become a media for the manifestation of consciousness and existence. That's all. So, like even is there electricity in the air or not, in the atmosphere or not? Yes or no? Yes. Are there sounds in the atmosphere or not? Yes. Now, how do you say that? Are you hearing the sounds in the atmosphere? Or are you feeling the electric current? No. This much science that you know, electricity is there. So, because there are no wires to tap that electricity, so electricity becomes manifest when you have got wires to tap it. When it is not there, so it is not evident, but it's still there. Uh, today's today's cell phone and all those things very clearly show you all the time there are sound waves around. If you have the right gadgets to in the form of whatever, in the form of radio, in the form of a TV, in the form of a cell phone, etc. If you tune it to the right thing, you are able to get the sounds. Okay. Otherwise, you don't get. That means they are present all the time there. So you cannot say there are no sounds at all. There is in the atmosphere. There is no electricity. So sound waves and electricity are present whether we appreciate them or not. They are unmanifest if there are no gadgets to tap them. They are manifest if there are gadgets to tap them. Same thing, existence and consciousness is always there. Our body, mind, sense organs are the gadgets which tap them and manifest them. It is not, if it is not there, we feel as though it is not there. Okay. So the consciousness is always present. That is, it is there always, but manifests only when the buddhi operates. That is why when the buddhi is not operating in sleep, we think as though there is no consciousness. But that's not true. And so, as pure existence and pure consciousness without attributes, without time limitation, without place limitation, I am there and I exist always. Or time, place, attributes shine in me because of me. They exist in me, they shine because of them, but I am ever free of them. I am the witness of all the objects of the world. I am the witness of the body, sense organs, mind in the waking state. I am the witness of all the projections that I do with the mind. Without an external world, the mind projects an external world in dream. I am aware of all that takes place in the dream. I am the witness, I am the sakshi of non-cognition of things in the sleep. So I am avastha traya sakshi. I am conscious of all the three states. Therefore, sadha bhami. So whatever I said, other things also for existence comes, because existence and consciousness are inseparable. So as consciousness, not manifest consciousness, as consciousness, I am always there. Kadachid naham apriyaha. So on api, mentally we add kadachidapi naham apriyaha. There is no time when I am not dear to myself. Okay. There is no time when I don't love myself. Now, a vyapti, a generalization. Yad yad premaspadam tat tat ananda rupam. Whatever is an object of love, whatever object is dear to me, that that is that is the source of ananda. Okay. So I love that object. It is dear to me because it gives me joy. There are so many objects in the world which seem to give me joy, and therefore they are dear to me. But what is seen as a source of joy to me is not seen by a source of joy to another. That is why in any house there is a problem. A younger generation wants to blast away disco music. Elders feel so irritated, hoping today's elder generation also are not fond of. If they are also fond, I have to find another example. Okay, so you find something. They feel, what is this Carnatic music? Forever they are listening. See, this incidentally, like ears that are trained to South Indian music. So sometimes when they listen to North Indian music, it takes a little bit of training of the ears. That it goes on from one swara itself will be going on, ah, ah, and then it'll go and doesn't seem to progress to the next swara at all. So I mean, it needs a special training for us to understand. So so each one has got certain things give joy to certain people. The same thing doesn't give joy to other people. And in fact, not only does it not give joy, it is a dukkha hetu for another person. Okay. So, this is another problem that happens. See, people keep these small shops, some ironing shops, etc. And today, everybody can afford certain small gadgets. So they'll keep a speaker towards the street, so that we should all be listening to the blaring music, whereas they won't be disturbed by it. We will be listening. So it's a dukkha hetu for me. That is priya for that person. Okay. So and what is priya to me today? What seems to give me sukha today doesn't seem to give me sukha another day. That's why there is one time, in younger days, people want the fan at full speed. Then as you get older, so then they can't stand the fan. So what was at one time sukha hetu itself is a dukkha hetu now. So when I'm having fever, again I can't stand the cold. So any one thing, you cannot say it's an absolute sukha hetu. So it is absolute cause for sukham. And therefore it will be priya, it will be dear to me all the time. So how do things make me happy and give joy? If you further analyze, you find whatever helps me to discover that I am a pleased person and I am an acceptable person to me. At that time, I feel pleased, I feel acceptable to myself. Then the external situation seems to give me joy. So what is it that I love? I love my pleased self. Anything that helps me to discover my pleased self, so that is dear to me. So love for myself, actually the first love is for love for myself. And the love for myself is transferred to the object, because that object becomes a nimitta, a cause, a ground at that time for seeing myself as a happy, satisfied, acceptable person. The moment that object or person ceases to invoke in me a self-acceptance or a pleased self, it's no more an object of love. Yesterday I gave you the example. Same children who are objects of love for us, as long as they listen to us. But as long as they listen to us, they make us feel I am important. Therefore, I love them. The moment they are not ready to listen to me and they have got their own own will and they want to do what they like. That means they can even become objects of hatred. So sometimes it goes to one level. If you don't listen to what I say, then you can get out of the house. Or if you don't listen to what I say and you are going to do what exactly you like, don't ever face me. Don't even come if I die. How serious somebody can say things, okay? Don't even come to when I die. Don't step over this, etc. How these are the children for whom this person wanted to do so much, etc. Because that person has touched the ego of this person. So no more that person doesn't make this person feel important and self-acceptable. Therefore, that person becomes apriya. So finally, for whom is the love? Love is for myself. Love is for my self-importance and self-acceptability. And that is transferred to others. So, in the Maitreyi Brahmana of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, as I was pointing out in one of the introductory classes, Yajnavalkya tells his wife, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. This one sentence is worth akshara laksham. Let alone Vedanta. This we understand in life, then we will not, with so many things, we'll be practical about many things. Okay? The love for anything else, anybody else is only for my sake. Same thing also understand when the other person is not showing love to you also. That means we are not helping that person to discover their pleased self. So we should understand self is the most important. And the self, there is love for oneself. Okay. Then a doubt can arise if it doesn't come for you, then I will ask the doubt, I say. Then what about the times when you have a dukkha anubhava? I don't find all the time I am pleased. So supposing there is a dukkha anubhava, will I have love for myself or not? Yes, even in those times, you love yourself. That is why you can't tolerate your having dukkha. Because you love yourself so much that you don't like having dukkha. What about persons who hate themselves? They even want to go to the level of committing suicide. If they love themselves, how will they be ready to commit suicide? Okay. So really speaking, it's not a hatred for oneself. It's actually a seeming hatred which is born of love for oneself. Okay. So, I'll ask now, is the hatred directly aimed at you, or is the hatred for the unhappy you, or is the hatred for the happy you? Do you hate your unhappy self, or you hate your happy self? Okay. If you, what shall I say? If you really, if you are really unhappy, if your displeased self is your real nature, that displeased nature of yourself can never go. But in sleep, however much troubles persons have, if they can sleep, all the troubles go away. Sometimes, you even make a statement, in English at least, I want to sleep off my problems. At least for a while, sleep off my problems. So And all of us know at the time at least of in sleep, okay, the displeased self disappears. Okay? The dukkha a person has got, everything vanishes. If dukkha is my nature, then I can't say I slept happily. If unhappiness is my swarupa, I should be comfortable being unhappy. But nobody is comfortable being unhappy. So the hatred is not for oneself, but the hatred is for the displeased state that has occurred. Okay? That situation, the hatred is for the state, the situation which has invoked in you a displeased self. Okay. Now, somebody gives a beautiful example here. You love sweets, but you don't like ants in the sweet. So, supposing that sweet is something like a Mysore pak or burfi. So the ants are only at the top. Then what? You may blow away the ants and then you may eat the sweet. Okay. Supposing the ants have dug tunnels in and through that, or if it is a sweet like, okay, jalebi or jamun, then what happens? It is so stuck with it. Now there is no way, even though you like sweets, there is no way you can get rid of the ants, and therefore you are ready to throw away the sweet. Same thing here also. As long as we can solve the problems which cause displeasure, okay. So we seem to have a dislike for the displeased self, but the moment we are able to get away from that, etc., then we are able to solve the problem, etc. Back again, if we get back to our pleased self, that's fine. But supposing you find there is no solution at all, and all the time only a displeased self is being invoked, and you are not able to separate at all the problems from yourself, that's the time you feel like throwing away the sweet, you feel like throwing away this body also, because you feel as long as this body is there, I'm not able to get rid of the situations. Even there also inside, there is a subconscious level or conscious level knowledge that you survive the body. Only with, when all the time in a particular situation, all the time you happen to be unhappy, then you want to get rid of the situation. So sometimes what happens, in a joint family, all the time there is some discord and there is some problem. Then you want to separate away and go so that we will solve the problem. Supposing a job is all the time having problems, then you quit the job and you try to take another job. So like that, this body is all the time, as long as this body is there, it seems to be all the time landing me in difficult situations, and I don't see any way of getting out of it. Then actually it's love for myself which wants me to get rid of this body. Like the love for myself wants me to get rid of the joint family or the job, etc. This is how. So the love for oneself alone really goes. So so even in suicide, indirectly, you don't like the body which seems to prevent the manifestation of my happy self. Because basically, everybody wants to live happily at least for one more day. Okay. So, aham ananda swarupaha premaspadatvat. So whatever is an object of my love is a source of happiness. And I am the one who is most loved by me. Therefore, I am the source of happiness. Okay. So again, whenever there is this ahankara, this our ego, is all the time demanding, it's manipulating. And that ahankara, which all the time seems to be finding some problem or the other, okay, and worrying itself, etc. Whenever I'm able to suspend temporarily that ahankara, I find I am happy. Okay, like Swamiji always used to give this example of a person. Okay, person is so self-conscious because the front teeth are all irregular. So it doesn't really like to smile at all, because if others will see me, how will they laugh at me? So self-conscious this person is. But even that person, when the person hears a joke, okay, the person is able to laugh, open the mouth and laugh. At least for a few moments, the person opens the mouth and laughs, and then after that does like this and looks around to see if anybody has seen. So that means you can forget. In each language, I'm sure they must be having some equivalent terms. We say in Tamil, "Tannai marandu sirita." So you forget yourself and then you laugh. So that time you are able to suspend the demanding, the displeased ahankara, and you are able to laugh. Same thing in sleep also, that ahankara, that all the time wanting, dissatisfied ahankara is suspended in sleep. That is why you are ready, you are able to sleep happily. And again, everybody loves oneself and is ready to give up everything for the sake of oneself. So if I have to choose between myself, my happiness, and my possessions, such as a house, some money, etc., for survival, I love myself. So if I have to sacrifice these things, the choice is between my life and my whatever property or possession. What will anybody do? So you give up, all right. You are ready to give this up. Like so many people, they were there at that time in Burma. Then for fear of life, etc., everything, possessions, they just left and walked. So walked away back to India. So you are ready to give up your possessions for the sake of yourself. You are ready to give up your house and money for yourself. If you have to choose between your sanity and family, sometimes you are ready to give up your family also to be more sane. Few people. That's why sometimes what happens, joint family also splits. Sometimes even divorces take place, etc., because the sanity is threatened. If there is a choice between my health, survival, and my limbs, okay. So only if my toes are removed, I can survive. If only some leg is amputated, I can survive. If this one eye which is destroyed has to be taken away, then only I can survive. I'm ready to give up the eye. I'm ready to give up the foot. I'm ready to give up this thing. So choice between parts of my body and my survival. I love myself more than this. So I'm ready to give up. So supposing there are certain convictions I have, okay, emotions, relations, etc. So I am, so if I have to choose between my convictions and my emotional relationship, etc., I'm ready to give up relationships. And then, because I love my convictions. That's how people get indoctrinated to run away from their family, etc. Also, they can be brainwashed to have a conviction. And so for them, the conviction becomes more important, so they are ready to give up other things. Okay, supposing the conviction itself gives you sorrow, and then there is a new conviction, then you are ready to give up the old conviction, because the old conviction is only landing you in sorrow. So all the time, anything that causes problem to me, I am ready to sacrifice for my sake. That's why the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad in another chapter says, Tadetat preyaha putrat Preyaha vittat, preyaha anyasmat sarvasmat, antaratamam yadayam atma. So this atma is dearer to oneself than children. It is dearer to oneself than wealth. It is dearer to oneself than everything else, the whole world put together, and that is the atma. Therefore, because essentially I am the source of Ananda, and anything that invokes that Ananda in me I love, anything that mars, prevents this Ananda from manifesting, I dislike. So I am the source of Ananda, and that is why I love myself. So kadachit naham apriyaha, because I am Ananda Swarupa. So aham sada asmi, I am sat. Aham sada bhami, I am chit. Kadachit naham apriyaha, I am Ananda Swarupa. All these three put together, I am Satchidananda Lakshanam. So yataha aham Satchidananda Lakshanam, ataha brahmaivaham iti siddham. So I am also Satchit Ananda. So my definition, my characteristics is also Satchidananda. Brahman is also Satchidananda. So both have the same Lakshanam. So aham Satchidananda Lakshanam. So the aham Satchidananda Lakshanam is a conclusion based on aham sada asmi, therefore sat, sada bhami, therefore chit, kadachit naham apriyaha, therefore I am Ananda Swarupa, therefore I am Satchidananda Lakshanam, and therefore I have the same Lakshanam, same definition as Brahman, ataha, therefore Brahmaivaham. I am that Brahman itself, is siddham. So that is established. Lakshana ekatvat, lakshya ekatva. So since the lakshanam is the same, definition is the same, what is pointed out by the definition should be the same. So in between, the commentator raises a few questions, so that our doubts, by finding answers to those questions, we will find that we have got more conviction and our doubts are clear. So your inference, atasiddham brahmaivaham. Therefore it is, see, remember the logic I gave, lakshana ekatvat, lakshya ekatva. So since the definitions are the same, therefore both must be same. This is anumana, inference. Okay. Now, your inference, anumana, is contradicted by pratyaksha pramana. Because pratyaksha pramana clearly shows I am not Ishvara, I am not Brahman. Okay. So when you say pratyaksha pramana shows I am not Ishvara, I am not Brahman, now tell me, is there anything in the Atma that is available for pratyaksha pramana? Because whenever you are saying it is available for pratyaksha pramana, you are talking from standpoint of the body, etc. We have already by Shravanam we have established Atma is different from the body, mind, sense organs. Shariratraya vilakshanaha, panchakosha atitaha, etc. It is different from the three shariras, etc. And Atma is something Shastra very clearly says. Atma is ashabdam, asparsham, arasam, arupam, arasam, agandham. So it does not have any sound for you to objectify it with your ears. It doesn't have any touch, not available for touching for you to appreciate with your sense of touch. doesn't have a form or color for you to appreciate with your eyes. It doesn't have a taste to appreciate with the tongue. It doesn't have smell for you to appreciate with your nose. So it is not available for any of the sense organs. Not even is it available as an object, a conceptualized object of your mind. Mind cannot objectify Atma. Mind can try to understand Atma, but mind cannot objectify Atma. So when Atma is neither Indriya Pratyaksham nor Manasa Pratyaksham, then how do you say Pratyaksha Pramana is contradicting Anumana? When Atma is not available for Pratyaksha Pramana, how can you say it is contradicting? So that argument is gone. Okay. Jiveshwaro bhinnau viruddha dharma adharatvat. So you say, so Jiva has got attributes and features different from that of Ishvara. And Ishvara is Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, Sarvavyapi, all those things. And Jiva is Alpajnaha, Alpashaktiman, Alpavyapi, etc. Both of them Viruddha Dharma. They have got Viruddha Dharma. They have got totally different attributes. Okay? How can they be one? Okay? So the Viruddha Dharmatvam, the having totally opposite type of features, is based on the Upadhi, not on the Atma, not on the Upahitam. So, if you say from mind standpoint, you are saying Alpajna. From mind standpoint, you are saying Alpashaktiman. So, from the body standpoint, you are saying Alpavyapi. So, I am using a lot of Sanskrit words. If anybody finds that it is a little difficult, you can ask me. Okay. So, I mean, these are all commonly used in all the Indian languages. That's why I am using them. So, then Ishvara from his Upadhi of Maya Upadhi. In fact, only from the standpoint of the creation, only when the creation comes into existence, only from the standpoint of the creation, you can talk about all. And then only you can talk about all pervading, all capable, all knowing, etc. But you cannot talk about it from just only standpoint of Brahman, because from Brahman's standpoint, creation doesn't exist. Because there are two different orders of reality. Same thing, Atma also, whatever you attribute to the Atma is based on body, mind, sense organs. We have already said Atma is different from the body, mind, sense organs. Therefore, it is based on the Upadhi, Viruddha Dharma, but what is the enclosed by the Upadhi is one and the same. So there is no difference. But there seem to be Upanishad sentences which talk as Dva Suparna Sayuja, that there is one Jivatma, there is a Paramatma, etc. It seems to talk. Initially it talks, but finally it dismisses that difference, and the Tatparyam, the ultimate purpose of the Upanishad is to show the Tattvamasi Vakya, that the difference is only apparent, not real. So neither Pratyaksha nor any other Anumana nor Shruti contradicts this conclusion, Aham Brahma Asmi. Therefore, Atasiddham Aham Brahmaiva. Now we are moving to verse 3. So, there is an objection raised. Brahman is presented as Sarva Karanam, the cause of everything. It is presented as both the material and the intelligent cause, and therefore a Sarvajna, Sarvavid, Sarvashaktimat, etc. So, it also by saying Yatova Yumani Bhutani, by all those sentences, it points out that it is a material cause also. So the individual, is alpagnya. I can't even say I understand my single body. All sorts of things seem to be happening within my body. I don't even know what's happening. It's very interesting. No matter how much you try, you can't see your back. So even your whole body, you can't see your face, you can't see your back. So where is the question? Even this, with reference to this, I can't. So how can you be Brahman? So in one way I gave an explanation. Now we are going to take up another aspect here. Okay. Incidentally, in the Upanishads, when Brahman is defined as Satyam Jnanam Anantam, it is called Swarupa Lakshanam. Swarupa Lakshanam means, from its own standpoint, what is its true nature. Tatastha Lakshanam means, from the standpoint of some other thing which is not intrinsic to it, okay, you point out something. Okay. I'm sorry, Jayashree, I'm taking you as an example. Okay. So the person who is sitting there, sitting in the front row in that corner with a green sari is Jayashree. Now, that dhari there is not an intrinsic part of her. That desk in that corner is not an intrinsic part of her. Tomorrow she may be in some other color sari, or she may be in some other dress. But I still, today, this is good enough for you to identify who that is. So, something that is outside that, not an intrinsic part, it is extrinsic to it. At the same time, it is helpful enough to identify that. Tatastha means, Tata means the bank. So what is somewhere on the bank, that means it is outside that and still good enough for you to identify. I always give this story as an exact example. Like, in the Mahabharata, when the people were there in the forest. So one day you find that there is a deer with horns. It takes away in its horn the arani stick of a Brahmana there, and it runs away. The Brahmana is trying to run after that, because if he doesn't have the arani stick, he cannot be doing his rituals, and he asks the Pandavas to help. So the Pandavas run behind the deer, and the deer somehow tries to evade and then goes. And then finally, so they have run for such a long distance, and still they cannot find it. So they are so tired. Then Yudhishthira asks, Sahadeva being the youngest, he says, try to find out if there is any water around. So he gets up on a tree and looks around. Then he says, there must be water in that direction, because I see lot of waterfowls. I see one tree there with some red flowers and all that, and I see waterfowls there, so there must be water. Okay. So with the help of that tree which is on the, whatever river is there or pond is there, the tree with the red flowers is on the bank, and the waterfowls are also not part of the river or the pond. But they are good enough to help standing on the bank, tatastha. They are good enough for you to identify. Same thing, creation is of a different order of reality. But still, from viewpoint of creation, when we are able to point out Brahman, that is called Tatastha Lakshana. When Brahman is pointed out as the creator, the sustainer, and the resolution point, okay, that's called Tatastha Lakshanam. So here the Tatastha Lakshanam aspect is going to be taken here. And So, how, how can Brahman, how can you be Brahman when the Brahman is the Jagat Karanam and everything is in Brahman? So, everything gains existence because of Brahman, and Brahman is all knowing. How can you be Brahman? For which the next, this thing is an answer. Okay. Mayyevo deti chidvyomni jagat gandharva pattanam atoham nakatam brahma sarvajnam sarvakaranam. So here we have to prove aham sarvajnah sarvakaranam. Therefore I am Brahman. So in the last shloka, I am, and I am independent of the existence of everything else. And it was pointed out, a existence of anything else is established by showing it depends on my existence. Okay. So I am, even when the waking world is dismissed, I am. When the sleep world is dismissed, I am. When the dream world is dismissed, I am. So my existence is self-proved and self-evident. Whereas everything depends upon me for existence has to be proved. Then I become Sarvakaranam, and then also from that Sarvajna, which we will see in the next class. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadai Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.